So this is going to be my backyard winter garden tour. This is the first one I've done. The year is 2022 and I haven't really done anything to the garden. I was kind of lax last year in taking care of it. I had an issue with groundhogs and deer and it just kind of bummed me out. So I kind of just let what happened. Some stuff did good and some didn't, but I'm gonna give you a little tour of what is going to be the fresh start to this year. The little backstory: this is not your typical backyard garden. I had what I had to work with, and well, I guess it's better to just show you what it is. So here we go. I'm just gonna start as though I'm headed out back to the garden. So on my deck, I have these four rain gutters. And usually I plant lettuces and kales and spinaches in here for salads. Then I have a bed over here on this part of the deck. And one year I grew a bunch of sunflowers, and then last year a bunch of the lettuce seeds blew from the gutters into that bed. And so I had a bunch of lettuce in both spots. And then there's some grow pots there. A few pots over there where I grow beans. And then you can see my greenhouse, and that's where my compost piles are. Just lead you over to the garden. And you're thinking, where's she going? Here is my garden. It is down the side of a cliff. So I'm gonna go down to the bottom so you can kind of get a better view of all the beds, and I'll talk a little bit about them. Yes, this is kind of insane, and I know it, but I like it. It's beautiful. It brings me happiness. So these are the first beds that I built. So I started gardening about 4 years ago. And so all of this is made from recycled wood and recycled roofing tin. So my husband built me this. I did not do this. And then we added some beds off the sides here. So it's hard to get a grasp as to what this is all like. I just have arches going all the way across these beds, and I don't know if you can see. So this was the first year, these, and then this was the second year, and then this was year of 2020. So we started them, but then the wood got insane. So as you can see, I didn't get this area quite finished yet. But all of these, 1, 2, 3, these 3 beds here, I grow tomatoes. And most of these beds over here, I grow tomatoes. Last year, I grew potatoes on either side, so I grew potatoes in a pile over here, and then I grew potatoes in a pile over there. And this year I'm going to try to consolidate and do just 2 really long rows of potatoes over here. Prepping the ground a little bit by putting cardboard down, and then I'm going to pile dirt up on top of the cardboard. But for right now, as you see, it's just the cardboard. This over here was just a bed that my mother-in-law had. She didn't want it anymore, so I took it. I'm not sure what we're going to do with that yet. But as you can see, some of these beds I did not clean up. It's a little bit of a mess, and they really need to be filled as well. They were pretty filled up, but within the past couple years, they've kind of, you know, settled down. And in the bottom of these beds is just like what this is. This is shale. This is all shale. So we had, to begin with, because we wanted to extend our yard up there, we sort of had this right here going on. It was woods. So we had all our trees cut down, and then we brought in like 100 loads of dirt and just pushed it over to extend our yard. And then after doing that, I decided I wanted to garden. And we put so much money into actually giving ourselves somewhat of a yard that I didn't want to then, you know, fill it with garden beds. So this is what I ended up doing. A lot of work, because guess how these beds are filled? Bucket by bucket, up and down these steps. So I get my workout. Some of these beds need a little work done to them too. And also this, like I said, this was all recycled wood. All these steps and all this, there was like a junk lumber yard not too far from us, and they would just let you go in and pick off their scraps. So that's what we did. We got a ton of wood. We even built a fire pit that's up there behind that. I'll show you that in a minute. And it's completely made out of recycled wood. So over here, I think I'm gonna do sweet potatoes, because I'm growing sweet potato slips for the first time this year on my own. This is actually what holds my chair, because every garden needs a chair. So it's like a little swinging chair. It doesn't have the chair on it because I don't want it to get ruined in this winter weather, because it gets pretty cold here. But all right, we're gonna head up. This is the first bed. Didn't clean it out. Second bed, didn't clean it out. And then there's a giant hole right there where a groundhog dug from underneath and up in it. So we have to reinforce the board there to fix it. And then I need to refill it because some of the dirt has slid down the hole. And then I did actually get these beds winterized with a little more compost and then shredded leaves. So I was lucky enough this year. We were driving by and this family was cleaning leaves, putting them in these black trash bags, and they had like 26 trash bags full of leaves. And I just stopped and I asked, can I have your leaves? And they gave us all the bags of leaves, and I brought them home and I shredded them up, using my mulch. So this bed right here is full of strawberries, and then I planted asparagus last year. So I'm pretty excited to see what this is. The asparagus right here. And I'm actually getting some more asparagus, some purple passion, I believe it is. And I've got another strawberry bed that I'm gonna do. So last year, this bed right here had 10 little starts in it. And it's incredible. I didn't get any strawberries hardly from it, but I imagine this year I will. And as you walk over, you guess I have to be super careful and watch what I'm doing and make sure the wood doesn't crack, but it's worth it to me. I have some different types of berry bushes in these. So berry bushes, and this one here is my peach tree. And then right up there, let's see, where is it at? I've got a couple of blueberry bushes, and then wrapping around that area is more berry bushes. So I got a good amount of berries last year, and I'm hoping, you know, to double. I need to trim them up because I haven't done that yet with them, but you can see some of this wood is, so gotta be careful. Let's see, where do I want to show you now? Oh, this right here is where we store our wood, underneath there. But this was actually built because we have a like blow up movie screen that we used to sit back here. You blow it up and then you'd sit in the fire pit area here. So that's all our scrap wood from all our projects. We'll end up having a bonfire and burning it all up. But now my husband has built where we put up poles right here, and we just attach the screen to the poles. So since we don't need this little back end deck area, I've started to put pots on it and grow stuff there too. Here's a view from the top down. It ends up being a lot of growing space. It really does. I'm gonna put up another cattle panel here, and in a couple of the other beds, more cattle panels. And then do like 2 rows of tomatoes. Maybe do a row of peppers here. Here's my blueberry bush. They're hard to see, but there's one, and then I've got one right here, blueberry bush, and then all around here, around this pergola, is berry bushes. So last year I tried to grow in hay bales. Total failure. So these need to be hauled down the hill just to compost. And then this one here is my neighbor's decoration. He went ahead and gave it to me after he was done using it. Alright, what else can I show you? So these beds here used to have plastic on them, but the plastic has been on there for a few years. Almost bit it there. Again, this part was recycled wood, so it's seen better days. My husband's got to redo it. I'm just careful. So we built these on a hinge when the plastic was on them. So I was able to like lift them up, keep them covered, but the plastic is no more. This is broken. So there's stuff that needs done. I'll get to it. But here is my other strawberry bed. So this bed is, what is this? Probably like 2.5, maybe 2. I think it's by 33 feet long. So I think these 3 beds they're a little bit different than width, but I'm actually going to plant all the new asparagus plants that I get in the middle of this row of strawberries, because from what I've read, strawberries and asparagus are team players. So last year I grew onions in this bed right here, and they did great. Onions and garlic. And I got every single one. Well, there's a couple that kind of straggled behind. I just left them there as an experiment to see what I get at the end of winter. So I don't know if we'll get to I think it's either 2 or 3 more beds right here down the hill, but that's the hope. And then, so this area right here is probably where I am going to build my chicken coop and chicken run. So we're going to move the swing set. I'm thinking we're going to move it right there. Right there. That's the plan. We got this greenhouse last year just off Amazon. It's like $150 or something. One windstorm just tore it up. And I ended up having to sew a bunch of places on it to sew it back together, and we decided to build like a base for it. I don't know if you can see. So there's a wooden base. I see it a little bit better because this area is not level, so part of it had to be up higher in the back. And then he reinforced it with a piece of wood all the way around. And then we added these to the wood, strapped it, and it has held up fantastic through all the wind and snow and all that stuff. And then beside it, this is my rest of my shredded up leaves and that part of the composting down into leaf mold. And then here's my compost pile. Gross. Like you wanted to see that. But I use the paper shreddings from work because I work in a dental office, and I just take all the paper shreddings and I use that as my brown sometimes. And then we'll enter the greenhouse here. So this is where we store our fire pit seat cushions so that they don't get destroyed by the weather. And this will be the first year I'm using this. I got this for Christmas. Does anybody else have one of these? Do you love it? And I also, throughout the winter, have been storing up all of the cardboard from my office and from stuff that I get at the house and everything. And then in here, so let's see, give you a better view. So we've got this, and the greenhouse is, what is it? 7 foot by 10 foot by 20 foot. Yes. Yeah, 7 foot high. So it's a little bit higher than 7 foot because we raised it up off the ground a little bit. But built this. This is built out of recycled wood as well. This is not. This was new wood. And then I filled the bed up, and there's stuff planted in here, but I planted it late, so it didn't get a good start. Like over here is cabbages, and right here's a bunch of carrots. I mean, I don't know how they did. The temperatures have been really cold lately, so I'm not sure. I mean, they don't look dead, but they might be. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens. And then over here I have a bunch of lettuces and kale, which, I mean, they look like they might make it. So I'm pretty impressed about how much this, as cold as it's gotten, because it's gotten down to like, feels like -5 degrees this winter. Things are still look alive. Not barely, but they do. You can see it is not your typical garden. It is makeshift. Interesting, but it keeps me busy. And today was absolutely beautiful. It was like 60 degrees, and it's February 11th. So I am just enjoying being outside. Thought I'd give you a quick overview of what you'll be seeing in some of my videos. There's a lot to do, a lot to fix. I'm going to try to put up a fence around it, around the garden, because I had the issue with deer, and it'll be interesting how we figure out how to do that, but because it's not just a regular old shape, it's, you know, we'll figure it out. Hopefully something will. I know people are gonna think I'm kind of insane, and maybe I am a little bit. They might even think my husband's insane for building me that. I forgot to show you. There's my winter starts in their little containers. Nothing yet really going on in there. I don't see anything. A couple of them fell over, so disappointing. And probably mixed up the seeds. Probably won't get anything from those, but so I'm curious. What do you guys think of my garden? Am I insane, or just have an extreme desire to garden? It's getting a little windy, and I'm standing in the greenhouse because I'm still new at this, and walking around my yard talking to myself is still hard to do. And I'm afraid my neighbors will see me. I'm a firm believer in where there's a will, there's a way, and I kind of have proven that with my garden. I'm not one to shy away from hard work if it gets me what I want. So let's garden in that crazy cliff garden together this summer. Spring, summer, fall, winter, all of the seasons. So stick around. This is a kind of a challenge for me to do this. I'm gonna do it anyways.